Hello everyone and welcome back to my 164th Custom Farm Toy series. Today I'm going to give you a little tutorial on weathering. Now I already started doing that on this feed grinder. I'm not sure how well you can see that on the video here because of my lighting, but I've kind of given it a feed dust look on all sides and some rust down there. And then kind of made it look like the paint was worn off a little bit on the ladder. So I'm going to show you the technique I used to do this. This was shared by Tony Dixon with me. He found it on a forum for doing like RC cars and stuff, but it takes some practice, and I did it a little bit differently than the guy on that forum said that he did it, but I'll show you kind of the meat and potatoes of it here, and then you guys can kind of develop your own method. Alright, first we'll go over the necessary supplies. The first thing you're going to need to do is get chalk pastels from like Hobby Lobby or something like that. And they have to be chalk, not oil. And then I just get like a earth tones set. And here you can see, you know, I use the combination of I think these two right here to make feed dust. You've got brown for like dirt, red for rust, or like black or like red soil from down south. You got black for like if you have like fuel stains or exhaust stains or something. So an earth tone set is going to be what you're going to want there. You're going to need a paintbrush. The type of brush doesn't really matter, I don't think. This is just one that I had laying around. And then you'll need a dull coat, which is, that's what Testors calls it, but I think it's probably just like a flat lacquer. So if you didn't want to get the Testors one, you could probably just get a flat lacquer. And then I would recommend using sandpaper for this, so you can just grind the sticks right on the sandpaper. But the only sandpaper I could find is this 400 grit, and that doesn't work very well. So I have a sanding wheel from my Dremel kit, and I've just been grinding the chalk against that. So the first thing that you need to do is spray a coat of the dull coat onto the piece that you're weathering. And keep in mind that the dull coat will cause glass or like clear plastic to fog up. And so if you're doing a tractor or something like that, if it's got cab glass, make sure that you mask that with masking tape, or if you can even take that part off, would be probably the best way to do it. But just keep in mind that you will have an issue with fogging if you spray it on clear plastic. So you want to spray a coat on, and then the forum didn't specifically say whether you're supposed to let it dry or not. And this stuff dries pretty quick. So the first time I let it dry and I brushed on the, you know, the chalk how I wanted it. And then it also says that you have to do the process multiple times, because when you spray the dull coat on it a second time, it kind of hides everything a little bit. But I found that if I spray the first coat and then put the chalk on it, and then spray it, put the chalk on it while it's still wet, and then spray it very lightly, like from 12 inches away or further, just so it kind of gets a little bit to hold it down, that kind of has the best results. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to pick out your color, or colors if you're going to mix. I found it fairly easy to mix two colors together. We're going to try that one and that one. And then if you're doing it on sandpaper, like I said would be ideal, you can just scratch it on the sandpaper and you'll get a nice little pile. But I've got to do it this way since I don't have gritty enough sandpaper. But basically all you want to do is just turn that chalk into a powder. And keep in mind, this is a really messy way of doing it, so you're going to want to make sure you're working in an area that it's alright if it gets a little dirty, or you got a good way to clean it up. I wouldn't probably do this on carpet or anything like that. So now I have my two colors that I'm going to use, and I'm actually going to mix these colors together with my brush, because I think that'll kind of be a nice kind of feed color, and it's a little darker than I'd like, although it does kind of resemble like a distiller's grain maybe, or a DDG as some people know them. But we're going to add a little bit of a light color to it there. So once you have your colors figured out, you just get a little bit, or get a pretty good amount on your brush, and then you just put it on in kind of a push-pull motion. And you know, a lot of it's going to fall off, but you get that kind of dusty look to it. And you just keep going with that for a while until you're happy with it. So as I said earlier, you may want to put the chalk on while the first dull coat is a little bit wet, and then just make sure that when you spray the next set of dull coat on, you spray it from a far distance away so that it doesn't just wash all that chalk off. But this is kind of what mine looked like when I was finished with it. I did go back and I added some brown to the tires and stuff to make it look like the tires were a bit muddy, but that was kind of my finished product. And one thing that really helps when you're doing this is, find pictures of what you're working on, or go look at the real thing so that you can see the realistic patterns in your weathering. When you're all done, you want it to look like it was something that could be a real piece of equipment. So if you look at pictures of real equipment, you'll get a pretty good idea of how they weather. I hope you guys liked this tutorial. Please leave a like, share, and subscribe, and check back for more.